Hello. Good morning. And welcome to worship with the Unitarian Universalist Church of Ventura, where I invite you to put your phones into church mode. I am Worship Associate Jim Merrill, and I am joined by Worship Associate Celia Ortenberg. Our minister, the Reverend Dana Worsnop, is out of the pulpit today, and we are absolutely delighted to welcome the Reverend Kristen Rahm back to our pulpit. As some of you will remember, Reverend Kristen served as our served her intern ministry right here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Ventura, where she was ordained into the ministry. As an ordained Unitarian Universalist minister, Reverend Kristen provides spiritual support to those who are at the end of life or who have a life-threatening illness. She offers this type of support to family members and caregivers of patients, as well to Hospice of Santa Barbara, volunteers, and staff. She holds a Master of Divinity from Meadville Lombard Theological School in Chicago and a BA in Psychology from DePauw University in Indiana. And she is a trained spiritual director from Shalom Institute in Washington, D.C. Shalom? Before coming to Hospice of Santa Barbara, in 2019, she was the lead minister for Southwest Unitarian Universalist Church in North Royalton, Ohio, as well as interim minister at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Santa Paula. Prior to seminary, Kristen taught yoga for 9 years and received a California teacher's credential. Kristen is married with 2 adult children, and she loves to walk on the beach, do yoga, read great books, and spend time with family and friends. Welcome back, Reverend Kristen. And now I bid you all welcome to worship, in here and out there. We preface our service by acknowledging that our church home rests on the unceded ancestral homelands of the Chumash peoples. Let us pause and remember that we live on ground that is sacred, ground that cries out for justice and for responsible stewardship. In so remembering, may we find the courage to do our part to restore wholeness to the earth and all her peoples. We always thank the people seated in the section nearest the open windows for keeping this a section for individuals who are more comfortable being among other masked worshipers. You're also naturally welcome to wear masks anywhere throughout the sanctuary. 2 of our women's groups are sponsoring a women's potluck this coming Wednesday, January 29th at 6 p.m. in Berg Hall. All women are invited to bond and support one another. This Friday, January 31st, will be the next installment in our UUCV Family Social Movie Night series. Movie viewing begins at 6 p.m. in Berg Hall. There will be popcorn and drinks. The Green Room Gallery, right back there, is accepting applications for its new exhibits to begin February 16th. Applications to show your work are due by Sunday, February 9th. You can find an application in a link in the newsletter or the good old way with a hard copy on the welcome table in Berg Hall. All of these activities and more are listed in our weekly email newsletter, UUCV This Week. You read it, I would say cover to cover, but I guess it's top to bottom. You read it all the way through, which always has a wealth of information about goings-on in this vibrant community. Now, enter with me the sacred space. Bring with you what is yours, a burdened heart, a joyous song, a wearied spirit, a seeking mind. Bring the gift of yourself to the altar. It is an honorable gift. Let us enter sacred space.
I'm Celia Ortenberg, Worship Associate, and I'm here to invite those of you at home to light a chalice or a candle as Jim lights the chalice of our free faith.
We gather in community, carrying our worries, our hurts, our hopes from the week. Let us set down our burdens and rest for a moment in the quiet. We gather together, seeking reprieve from the busyness of our days. Let us breathe and be nurtured by the quiet. We gather as people of faith, longing for a deep connection. Let us be brave enough to look into another's eyes, to hear their story, and tell our own. We gather here now. Let us rest, breathe, and together create connection. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning, everybody. Hi, I'm Zach Spencer, filling in for your music director, Carolyn Bjerke. I invite you all to rise in body and spirit as we sing our opening hymn, number 360, Here We Have Gathered. Gathered side by side, circle of kinship, come and step inside. May all who seek here find a kindly word. May all who speak here feel they have been heard. Sing now together this our heart's own song. Here we have gathered, called to celebrate, but in the shadows let us not forget. We of all ages, women, children, men, infants and sages, sharing what we can. Sing now together this our heart's own song. Life has its battles, sorrows and regrets, but in the shadows let us not forget. We who are gathered know each other's pain. Kindness can heal us as we give, we gain. Sing out in friendship this our heart's own song.
Good morning. My name is Lily Rappaport. I'm the director of family ministry, and now is the time that I'm going to call all those young or young at heart to come join me up front for the story. You can come sit on the carpet if you like. So today's story is called The Rabbit Listened, written by Corey Dorfeld. One day, Taylor decided to build something new, something special, something amazing. Taylor was so proud. But then, out of nowhere, things came crashing down. How do you think he feels? Sad, or maybe a lot of feelings, okay? The chicken was the first to notice. Okay. Cluck, cluck. What a shame. I'm so sorry this happened. Let's talk about it. Cluck, cluck. But Taylor didn't feel like talking, so the chicken left. Next came the bear. What do you think the bear said? How horrible. I bet you feel so angry. Let's shout it out. But Taylor didn't feel like shouting, so the bear left. The elephant knew just what to do. Charupta, I can fix this. We just need to remember exactly the way things were. But Taylor didn't feel like remembering. So the elephant also left. One by one they came. The hyena, let's laugh about it. The ostrich, let's hide and pretend nothing happened. The kangaroo, what a mess, let's throw it all away. And the snake, shh, let's go knock down someone else's. But Taylor didn't feel like doing anything with anybody. So eventually, they all left. Until Taylor was alone. In the quiet, Taylor didn't even notice the rabbit, but it moved closer and closer until Taylor could feel its warm body. Together, they sat in silence until Taylor said, "Please, stay with me." So the rabbit listened. The rabbit listened as Taylor talked. The rabbit listened as Taylor shouted. The rabbit listened as Taylor remembered and laughed. The rabbit listened to Taylor's plan to hide, to throw everything away, to ruin things for someone else. And through it all, the rabbit never left. And when the time was right, the rabbit listened to Taylor's plan to build it again. "I can't wait," Taylor said. "It's going to be amazing." Sometimes hugs say more than words. And so let's remember the rabbit listening, and it's time now for us to form in the middle aisle here a bridge of love. Stand as you're able, follow along if you're new. We're going to sing the children out to the classes.
Each Sunday, this congregation gives away our collection to an organization in the larger community or to funds that help people in our own church. Those at home have two ways to give: through the link posted in the chat or by texting from your phone the number on the screen. Folks who are present in the sanctuary can text to give, or you can still write a check or give cash, then drop it in the box at the back of the sanctuary after the service. Our offering today goes to Doctors Without Borders to help this remarkable organization deliver emergency medical aid to people in crisis via humanitarian projects in over 70 countries. Their teams are often the first on the scene when people's lives are upended by conflict, disease, outbreaks, or natural human-made disasters, risking their own lives to provide the care no one else is on hand to give. Today, their first responders, doctors, and caregivers are providing aid for those suffering from the wars in Gaza, Syria, Lebanon, and beyond. Even after 15 months of working in Gaza in hospitals and clinics, under attack and siege, they are still there, hoping the ceasefire holds as they continue to care for all those in need. No matter the circumstances, Doctors Without Borders remains dedicated and steadfast, continuously providing aid to anyone in need of emergency medical care whenever and wherever disaster strikes in the world. Thank you for giving generously, as you always do. We are so grateful to this congregation, which weaves a tapestry of generosity we call community.
Every week, we share with one another the joys and the sorrows that grace our lives. In this way, we weave together the stories of who we are, both individually and collectively. We place a stone in the water for each celebration or sorrow that is offered, making ripples that are felt throughout our community. I invite you now to speak into the gathered community or write into the Zoom the names of those you wish to celebrate or memorialize, or those in need of the loving embrace of this beloved community. Jim will now place one final stone in the water for all the joys and sorrows yet unspoken in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. May we be grateful for all that is our life.
Please remain seated, and let's join each other in the meditation hymn number 391, Voice Still and Small. Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In dark and rain, sorrow and pain, still you remain, singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing. Let's sing it one more time. Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In dark and rain, sorrow and pain, still you remain, singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing.
This reading, Wooed into This World by Reverend Scott Taylor, I understand you heard earlier this month. It bears repeating. Who dreamed you into being? What stories sat in your heart as they imagined who you would become? Who helped you imagine your story? Who helped you see your place in the story of this world? And what maybe matters the most, who helped you understand that you could be the author of your own unfolding? All of which is a way of asking who listened. Who listened until you could hear yourself speak? Until you trusted the voice that is your own? And now that you know what it is like to have the tale of yourself be heard into being, how might you midwife the story of another into being? Who needs your listening so their story can be set free? Whose story needs your heart so it knows it is worth entering this world? We say it is about listening, but really, Really, it's about love. It is through affection that our stories are born. They are wooed into this world. Let's not forget that. Nor this. It is through loving the stories of others and the stories of our own that we discover that they love us back. Let us take that into a time of meditation. I invite you to get a little more comfortable in your chair. Feel your feet on the ground. Imagine the earth below. Take a breath with me. Let it out slowly. Notice your breath, your body. You may place a hand on your heart or belly to feel your center. When thoughts come, let them pass. And in the quiet, notice your heart.
I miss calling someplace home. I miss thinking I could know where I would spend my final days, or plant a seed and watch it grow. I don't like waking up alone, don't like cooking meals for one. I miss the chaos and the noise, the family work that's never done. Now in dreams I swim with the transient whales. All we have is each other and the songs we share, the songs we share. We are never standing still. The earth is spinning round the sun. The sun is swinging through the heavens, and Time is always pushing on, but this body begs for comfort, and it groans with every change. Well, it hopes it will not suffer, prays in vain it will not age. And in dreams I swim with the transient whales. All we have is each other, and the songs we share, the songs we share. I love jokes that last for years, and having people dropping by. I liked being at the center of a place that felt alive. Now my home is in the ocean, where my song can travel free, carried softly by the waters to wherever you may be. Now in dreams I swim with the transient whales. All we have is each other, and the songs we share, the songs we share. All we have is each other, and the songs we share, the songs we share.
Thank you. Stories matter to me. I was pleased when after I finally was able to say yes to Jim, we found a date that would work for me to come. I was pleased when I saw that the theme for the month was story. Story has been a theme throughout all the years of my ministry. And I want to share a little bit of that with you this morning. One of the first classes I took in seminary, I was assigned a book, The Truth About Stories, written by Thomas King, who is an indigenous author. And he wrote and he taught me that stories matter. They're powerful. And with power, things can be good or harmful. And he said it matters the stories we take in and the stories we tell. And when I took a preaching class in seminary, my first official sermon that I wrote and then preached was about story, about creation stories, the messages they give us about human nature and the world. And so in the early years of my ministry, I kept talking about story in many different ways. I probably preached that sermon here in like 2010. As I talked about creation stories and how important they are. As people of faith, what are we told matters? What are the things that are important? What do they teach us about the world? And even before, many years before this current political climate, I thought stories helped us understand the importance of who tells them, who gets to tell them, and who's left out, and what was their agenda in the telling of the story. Those are all important things. And I also talked about the stories of our congregations and the importance of that narrative in helping all of us to name and claim who we are together, what we value, and how we're growing, where are our edges. And so it is lovely It is lovely for me to be back here with all of you because this congregation helped form me as a minister. And our stories are a bit intertwined. So thank you for having me here. And as I continued to serve congregations, both here and in Ohio, story began to shift a little because I began to see that I was being gifted with your stories, with the stories of the folks I served, as we walked together week by week, month by month, and I got to witness the lives as we celebrated the fun things and as they came to me with the hard things. I saw that we were creating intimacy, we were building community when we shared our stories. The things that happened in our early years, what we have fought for, what has broken our hearts, and what has made us laugh. And I learned the honor of being trusted with what is really going on in someone's heart. And that trust is such an important part of ministry. And a quick note, I know that your minister, Reverend Dana, has decided it's time to retire. So you will all be preparing in the months ahead to finish that chapter of her ministry here with you. Saying goodbye to a congregation is one of the hardest things we do as ministers, and hard on congregations too. So please honor that. Take the time that you need. Take care with each other in this tender time. And then my ministry shifted again. My setting has changed, and so I'm seeing stories in an additional way. I've come to understand that telling the stories of our lives is part of what helps us be healthy. It's part of what helps us be whole. Beyond helping us create intimacy and build community, I now know that the telling of our stories can also be medicine. If done well, it can help us heal, help us cope with traumatic events. And so with the rest of my time here this morning, I want to share some of what I've been shown by the people I now serve about how to do it well, both the telling and the receiving, so that this process can be healing. Now, as you heard when Jim introduced me, my ministry these last 6 years has been with the Hospice of Santa Barbara. And just to clarify, we're not a medical hospice, so that means that we enter, and I, as a spiritual counselor, get to meet people as soon as they get a life-threatening diagnosis. So that means stage 4 cancer or ALS or end stage, pretty much anything scary. So I get to have a lot of rich conversation. But before I go further, I want to acknowledge that I've said hospice, I've said cancer, maybe I said end of life, and those things usually bring a little tension. So let's just take a breath. Let some of that tension go. And for anyone who's had cancer or who loves someone who's had cancer or who's had a death in their circle lately, let's just pause and acknowledge that, the tenderness of that. Let this be a safe space for all the truths of our lives. Now, Mark Nepo, in his lovely Book of Awakening, says this in this way: a common question put to the sick by a Native American medicine man is, when is the last time you told your story? Which suggests that we might get sick when we stop telling our story, which suggests that telling our story is medicine. And this morning, I suggest that what can make it medicine isn't so much the words, but the presence of love and compassion. in both the teller and the receiver. And when I go out to meet a new client, I go to them wherever they are. I go without papers, without pamphlets. I don't take a computer. I don't bring my cell phone out. I just go and I sit with them where they are most comfortable. A bit like Rabbit. And their story begins to emerge. And my job is to create a safe enough space for them to share whatever is on their heart. It may be the story of their diagnosis, or of their surgery, or of their fear. It may be the story of their loved one's journey with illness or death. And I listen. And I receive their story as it unfolds. Often there are tears, there's some surprise. I can't believe I'm saying all this. And I say, it's okay. This is how it works. But why? Why? Why is the telling so helpful? Well, what they have shown me is that there is a power in naming the things that are hard. There's a power in giving a name to what is awful. Now, this seems counterintuitive. Most of us would prefer that maybe we never hear the word cancer or death or any of that. It feels like if we never say it, maybe it won't happen. I don't know, but it just seems safer, right, not to bring those scary words out. Yet what I see over and over again is that it is helpful to say the worst of it out loud and have someone witness it. When we can say what we fear, the scariest thing we're imagining, and we've never told a soul, but if we can say it, even if we whisper it, it gets smaller. When we bring it out of the shadows and into the light, it gets a tiny bit more manageable. So being silent, keeping it in the dark, grows our fear and despair and our loneliness. Gently naming the scary thing, the hardest thing, makes it just a little bit easier. And that takes courage. It also is very useful when we feel scared or overwhelmed or confused to tell our story out loud. It may seem counterintuitive again, but I've seen it, I watch it over and over again. We actually hear ourselves into solutions or into the direction we need to take. I'd not have guessed it, but I watch it. Folks hear their own words saying what they need. As they tell their story, they find their way toward the wisdom they already have inside. And it is the telling of it that helps them find it, hear it. And almost always, people's faces soften. They feel some relief. Their burden is lighter because they shared their story. They have begun to heal. When was the last time you told your story? I want to offer a tip about telling your story or for telling your story. I want to ask you to be thoughtful about who you share it with. Because it's important when we say something about ourselves, something that matters, that the person we tell it to is able to receive it. And if there's someone in our lives who has disappointed or hurt us, that's not the person to go back today and share something deeply meaningful. Let's be savvy. Let's be careful. And share ourselves with those who are trustworthy. Because if we remember, it's love that makes the healing happen, that lets the story unfold. The reason that I or any of us can create a safe space for another to tell their truth is that we take love seriously. I do. I do my spiritual practices every day. And I ask the love that is at the center of the universe and the center of our faith to be with me when I visit a client. I ask love to be present, to be felt as comfort. It is the love that makes it safe and helps us heal. So share your heart, your story with someone who can love. And the second tip I have is to speak your truth. By this I mean, let's not make stuff up. And let's not aggrandize. We see enough of that in the news. Share what is real. And also, don't leave stuff out. It's important that we not pretend that we have no fears, no vulnerabilities, we've made no mistakes. Like, that's not real. So take a risk, say what's real, what's close to the heart. Because being vulnerable is one of the most courageous things we do. It helps us grow, it's good for us, and it's what helps us connect with each other. It builds intimacy. It makes community like this one possible. I am so glad you're all here this morning. Thank you for coming out in the rain and for being part of a community. It's important. It's been a hard week for many because of politics, a hard month for many in Southern California because of fire. When things are hard, we help ourselves by coming together. That's one of the things all my years in ministry has shown me. We need to be in community. So thank you for being here and creating community. So we talked about telling a story. Now I want to tell a little bit about, or talk a little bit about receiving of the stories. How do we catch a story, hold a story? And we heard a story this morning that has a lot of good tips in it. It's important to receive a story with love. So just to know, and if you don't have the time to listen to someone, let them know. Set a different time. If you don't have the bandwidth to listen to a hard thing, let the person know. Choose a different time. Because listening's a big deal. It takes something from us. So be in a space to do it well. And if we think of the story this morning of Taylor and all of the animals, think of yourself. Which of the animals do you tend toward? Are you a bear, coming in loud? Are you maybe a ostrich, rather put your head in the ground? Sometimes that's me. Maybe you're an elephant, you want to fix things. Just wonder and notice, what is my inclination? What might I do? Not to make yourself feel wrong, but just to know, so that you might choose something else if you got a feeling this is important. So what helps, like rabbit, is to go slowly, is to not come in like chicken, squawking, but come in slowly, come in quietly. Because the parts of our heart that are vulnerable are a bit shy. They just are. So that helps. Try not to feel like you have to have an answer or solve a problem. I can't tell you how many of the people that I serve say to me, my friends, my family, they love me. I know they're trying to help, but they can't solve cancer. If they could just listen, that's what would help. So I say that to help us lay down the burden of feeling like we have to be able to solve something for someone else. We don't. We can just listen. The other thing, this is something I sometimes do, which I try to remind myself I don't have to, is try not to think of what is the wise thing I'm going to say when they stop talking. What clever thing is going to be helpful? So that's something else we can set down if you're able. Really, what we need to do is just stop talking. Listen. There's a power in silence. Sometimes the most important things come out after some quiet. So don't be afraid of a little quiet, I guess. And the last piece of advice my folks have shown me is that it helps if we can listen for the feelings beneath the words. If we listen with our heart, not just our head. And my guess is that all of you already kind of know this. You know this. You're already a good listener. You've been learning that by being here. So my hope is you'll pick one little thing from today and just put it in your toolkit for listening with love, so that your listening can be medicine. When was the last time you told your story? I invite all of us to try this out, to practice this with each other today or this week. Because sharing what's true for us is good. And it's part of what keeps us healthy. And it's really good to practice when things are not as serious and scary as they are for my clients. So I encourage you to sit with someone and just ask them a question. What's the most fun you've had recently? Who is one of your mentors? What is one small regret? What stands out from your childhood? What makes you laugh? And then come close, get quiet, listen well, channel the rabbit. And practice a bit, have fun. Let this be a community where you tell your truth. So friends, it is a pleasure to be here with you again as a small part of your congregation's ongoing story. Please lean in here to this community. Co-create this narrative centered on love, on hearing each other into health and wellness. Stories matter. You matter. May you know that to be so. And I will leave you with a prayer that I got from Nadia Boltz-Weber that has supported me this week. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, guide my attention to that which is worthy of it. Show me what is mine to do. Give me the strength to do it and the humility to rest afterwards. Open me to what is hopeful, so that I may listen with a loving heart to the stories all around me. Amen.
I invite you all again to rise in body or in spirit as we join each other singing number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love, and amazing grace when our heart is in a holy place. When we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see each other in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Please join me in reading the words on the screen as we prepare to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. Those we carry into our hearts until we are together again.
I hope all of those who are streaming or on Zoom will stay and visit with each other and with folks in Berg Hall who can join the conversation on Zoom in the big TV screen that is there. For all of you who are here in the sanctuary, you are invited after the service for coffee, tea, and bagels and conversation in the community room, Berg Hall, through these doors. All visitors are also, and guests are also enthusiastically invited to stop by our popular connecting table right through these doors that are just opening up for us. And you can have a chat there. Remember the women's potluck on Wednesday and the family social movie night on Friday, and get those applications to have your art exhibited in the green room. I also remind you that you can still deposit checks and cash for today's offering into the box at the back of the sanctuary.
Stories matter, but more importantly, you matter. So share your story, share yourself, listen well, be healthy, be whole. Let us all go in peace.
you.